Good evening. I am Pam Thompson Smith, and I'm super excited to be here for the kickoff of the International Cultural Festival. And I have with me Lenan Fowl. Hi, Lenan.
Hey, Pam.
How you doing today?
Good for Friday.
Yes, and we're excited about this kickoff of this great weekend event starting with tonight, the virtual tea. So we want you just to tell us a little bit about why we're here.
Great. I serve on the board of directors for the Cultural Arts Society of Fuquay-Varina. The Cultural Arts Society was founded in 2003 by Romy Burt Jr. with the help of Mayor John Byrne here in Fuquay-Varina. And over the last 18 years, it's grown into a very professional organization with a very diverse board of directors who reflect the same passion for celebrating the diversity in our community that both Mr. Burt and Mr. Mayor John Byrne possessed back in 2003. So our mission is to celebrate and promote the diversity right here in Fuquay-Varina. You know, we're a growing community, and there are many different ethnicities and religious groups and people of different backgrounds in our community. So we try very hard to partner with them and to showcase all of their differences and all of our ways that we are together in this community. And this international festival is just one of those ways that we do that. The other way that the other event that we sponsor every year is the Martin Luther King Jr. celebration in January. But this international festival is near and dear to our heart. And this is only the second one. We had one in 2019 that was in person. It was our kickoff. And unfortunately, the pandemic has kept us from having it in person since then. So we are doing it this way this year. We're very excited about it.
Awesome. So let's move into talking about this virtual tea.
Okay. So, you know, in 2019, we had our first writers' tea in person. So we had a lovely room with cloth tablecloths and different kinds of tea and lots of cookies and snacks, and we had a live audience, and it was a lot of fun bringing authors to the community to talk about their work. This time we're doing it in a virtual format so that we could bring different people from different areas of this region together and do it in a safe way. We weren't sure when we were planning if we could even do an in-person event. So this is our hybrid version of offering the same program. We're going to bring 4 authors tonight to the community. They're from various walks of life, but they're all from the area. I'm really hoping that even though we are not together and we're not drinking tea together, that you will join us for a cup of tea tonight and your own snacks while we share the work and personal stories and journeys of these 4 women. So I hope you'll interact with us tonight by posting questions in the chat as we go through the evening. And welcome to everybody here.
Awesome. Well, before we get started, we would definitely want to thank our sponsors.
Hi, my name is Chris Groff. I'm one of the owners of Oakland Springs Brewery, located right here in Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina. I'm here today to say that we are very excited to be a presenting sponsor of this year's International Cultural Festival in Fuquay-Varina. And I just wanted to spend a few minutes with you on who we are. Oakland Springs started roughly 6 years ago at a block party. That's right, at a block party. Myself and 3 other partners got together, and we thought it would be fun to brew craft beer out of a garage. Well, there was a lot of trial and error in that, but through 2 years of brewing every Sunday, we came out with some really good recipes: a crisp Kolsch, malty porters, some farmhouse saisons, and some Scotch ales, which we thought were really good. So we thought we'd take it to the next level. And in July of 2018, July 14th actually, we opened our doors to the public at a facility in Fuquay-Varina. It's a combined brew house and a tap room. And over those 3 years, we went from a 7-gallon fermenter in our garage. We're now at 3,100 gallons of fermentation capacity. We service over 100 restaurants and bottle shops across our state, and we make a full range of ales and lagers. We have one of the most robust sour programs, we believe, in the state. We make over 15 sours. In fact, in the 3-year time frame that we've been open, we've developed over 100 unique, delicious, true to style, consistent, fabulous craft beers. And we invite you and your family and your friends to come and visit us. Our tap room and our brew house are located on 2912 North Main Street. We're not that far out of town from Fuquay, and we'd really, really like to see you. So thank you very much, and have a wonderful time at this year's International Cultural Arts Festival. Thank you.
Bob Barker is a proud sponsor of the Fuquay-Varina Around the World International Cultural Festival. Bob Barker Company offers the broadest product line and largest inventory of corrections and detention supplies to federal, state, and local government agencies and select businesses. As a family-owned business since 1972, we know that relationships are one of the most important aspects of our company. We cherish the relationships that we've built with all our team members and customers. With that, we recognize having a diverse culture in a company is vitally important for growth and innovation. We believe that belonging is important to all people. Everyone brings a different spice or ingredient to our teams, and we believe a more diverse workplace aids us in building a stronger brand. It's so easy to fall into a culture where everyone is the same, but we are here to challenge the status quo by being more diverse and inclusive. We are committed to individual and organizational efforts to building a community of caring, belonging, fairness, and equity for all. We invite the entire community to please come out and support the International Cultural Festival this weekend.
Hi, I'm Bailyn Murphy, meteorologist for ABC 11 Eyewitness News. Congratulations to the Cultural Arts Society of Fuquay-Varina on the 2nd annual International Cultural Festival. ABC 11 celebrates the diversity of all of our audiences, and we are proud to be a sponsor of this year's event. So, on behalf of the ABC 11 morning team, we look forward to enjoying this weekend's art, culture, and food with all of you.
We know every morning comes with its own set of challenges.
Some days it takes a little oomph to get started.
The truth is, whether you're a breakfast
or an early lunch kind of person,
you can always get connected first thing in the morning with ABC 11 Eyewitness News.
Meet us here for important breaking news
and first alert weather,
so you can stay prepared
for all the day's challenges.
Connect with the #1 local news and first alert weather team every morning on ABC 11 Eyewitness News.
Awesome. Lynette, we can't do it without our community partners.
Absolutely not. They're one of a kind. So now we'd like to kick off the actual tea. So if we could bring up our 4 authors just to say hello and kick things off, that would be great. We have with us tonight Tasha Jordan. We have Lisa Beckwith. We have Pinky Struthers, and we have Evelyn Booker. So welcome, everyone. I believe Pinky is working on getting connected, so we will see her shortly. But I think we will start this evening with Tasha. So if we could.
Awesome.
So Your Purpose Depends on It was published this year and shares her personal journey through marriage, motherhood, and finding her true identity. Tasha is a wife, mother, and author, founder of Seeds That Last Ministry, and a small business owner. She's also the director of the Fuquay-Varina Coalition, a UNC Chapel Hill graduate with degrees in exercise science and sociology. She also earned a master's degree from UNC Charlotte in health promotion. She's a leader in health education, health promotion, and community organization, and we are happy to introduce Tasha to the Writers' Tea. Welcome.
Hey, thank you.
Welcome, Tasha. I'm so excited to have you here. And so first, we just want to know, tell us the name of your book.
Because it's called Your Purpose Depends on It.
Okay, so there's always a story behind the title.
Yes. Well, basically, when I started kind of working on my story, it was really for family history sake. And so I didn't, I had a different title, for that project. And I just realized as I was writing it that the experiences that I was having and the lessons that I was learning really depended on me getting to my purpose, because there's a lot of things I had to go through and overcome. And so that's kind of how it developed. But yeah, it started out something totally different. Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm going to ask you, what is your why behind this book?
My why behind this book is that, I was a stay-at-home mom for a while. And, it gets hard sometimes, you feel like you're isolated, but I did have my family. And so I had my sisters, my mom, my sister cousin, and we would always be sitting around the table and, just encouraging each other. And I just, was thinking, how do people do it without this? Like you really need that community to do life. And so as I was doing the family history project, I started, and I'm talking to different friends and realizing they're going through some similar journeys. I was like, it's really important for us to start sharing our stories, because we're like isolated and we're feeling alone, when we could, I think, share strength by sharing our stories. So that's, again, it wasn't a book. At first, I just wanted to share my story, but a book became the best way to kind of share it. So that's how.
Awesome. Well, now's the time. Share. Give us a little bit.
Okay, so a little bit. So Your Purpose Depends on It basically is a collection of stories about my life and different seasons in my life, and really my journey to surrender, which a lot of times was reluctant surrender. So my journey to surrender. And so throughout the book, I talk about marriage, I talk about, being a mother, and just even my natural hair journey, like all of those pieces that got me to where I am now. And so my hope is that when people are reading the book, that they not only have kind of like, through my experiences, they feel inspired on their own journeys, but also that they are encouraged to, when they're going through hard times, that they press into God, because, without Him, there would not be a story to tell for me. So definitely hoping that happens, because also through all of those experiences, I really learned that it wasn't about religion, it was about relationship with Him. And so that process was, life-changing for me. And I hope that, people can, pick that up when they're reading the book as well.
Awesome. Well, we got to put a pin right there. That was powerful. Not about religion, but about relationship. So can you expound more on what that really means to you?
Yeah, because I say in the book how I started off and I was a good Christian girl. I did the right things, I was trying to, just be nice and kind and all those things, but I still was struggling so hard. And I'm like, what am I not getting here? And so, through those experiences though, and I had set it up nicely. I was trying to do it all in my own strength, of course. Right. And so I had set it up nicely, but through my experiences, I felt like God stripped that away so that He could build me up. And so that was huge for me. And so through that building up, I learned more about who He is and who I am in Christ. And that makes all the difference for me. So that's what I mean when I'm saying that it's not about a religion, it's about relationship with Him.
Awesome. Yeah. So as you were writing this book and sharing for others, oftentimes when we do that, it's a blessing and it blesses us. So can you give us, 2 or 3 things that you learned after writing this book?
I think for me is, and I'm still learning, I feel like I have to reread, I'm still getting it, but I think one of the main things is just I want to be comfortable in who He created me to be, just kind of settle in on that. And I think that's a lesson that I continually to learn. I can't say that I've got that yet, but that was a big theme throughout the book. But also community. I think, like I was mentioning before, it's so important to have others to do life with. And So that's why I encourage, even in the book, to there's like places where you can jot down about, as you're reading, you can jot down things that come to mind so that you can start thinking about or get in the mindset of potentially sharing your story at the end or later. And so I think community, and also, it's the importance of really, really sharing our stories with others were some of the things that kind of are continuing to be part of my day to day.
Right. It makes you want to go back and read again.
I know.
What you said earlier was a good caveat to, you talked about community, but right before that, let's expound on how you show up. Like, how important is it that we show up our authentic selves?
I think it makes all the difference. I think that we have purpose, and in order to fulfill that purpose, we have to be our authentic self. Like, we can't do it pretending. And I talk about that because I spent a lot of time performing, and then I went into pretending because I couldn't quite perform like I used to, but I was pretending. And then I felt like God was like, no, and he just he's bringing me into my purpose. And so I think that that's key. We that's the only way it works. And I just hope that this book, and just in the conversations that we have around it, that it encourages people to be that. Just
awesome.
themselves.
It sounds like, once you read this, that it's going to strike some real critical conversations with others and looking within. So before we close with you, we wanted you to just give us some final nuggets of what you really want us to know about your book and why we should go purchase it.
Well, I just really think that if we, for two things. One is that I feel like there can be a healing for the storyteller and the listener when we take time out and we're able to share our stories. We're bold enough or brave enough to share our stories. So that's a nugget that I want us to take away. But also, I think just I think we can change lives, and we can share strength when we share our stories as well. So just encouraging people to do that and be bold enough to do that are the main things, I think. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, before we let you go, of course, we want you to put it in the chat, but let's tell people how they can purchase your book.
So you can go to my website, which is seedsthatlast.com, and I'll put it in the chat to purchase the book, or Amazon. It's on Amazon. And if you just want to follow me, see what I'm up to, you can follow me at Toshiad, Toshia D. Jordan on Instagram.
Awesome. Well, we're going to bring back Lenan, who may have a couple questions for you before we go to the next author.
Hey again. I do have a question that came from Facebook.
Okay.
What advice would you give someone that aspires to write a book but doesn't know how to go about the process?
I think for me, it would be to just continually, writing. Just write it. Start writing it, even if you don't know. Because for me, I didn't know how I was going to publish it. I didn't know what that even looked like. I didn't have that experience. So I just constantly kept writing notes and keeping, making sure I was documenting it. And then I guess like Amazon, doing their publishing. I've tried that before. I just did that recently. That's really easy to do because I use YouTube University. So that's, you got everything there. So definitely go in there. But there's a lot of help out there. So I wouldn't let not knowing what the steps are stop you. Just continue, getting write your story, and then you'll be able to, by just doing YouTube and doing searches, you'll be able to take that next step to get it published and get it out there.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much.
Go ahead. The only other question that was out there is how can your book be published? But we're going to post that in the chat here in a second. So
perfect.
Great. So you look for some more questions because this book is awesome.
Thank you.
Can't wait to get it.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right. Well, we want our viewers to know that Tasha is not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. She is going to be in the chat. So please continue to engage and ask her questions. And we are now getting ready to bring up Lisa Beckwith.
All right. So Lisa published her book, God is Carrying Me, I Am His Warrior, in September of 2020. Founder and CEO of Ecosystem of Life, Lisa is a successful life coach who has developed a literacy program called Transcendent and a foundation called Be Courageous, among others. God is Carrying Me is one of several books Lisa's authored, and she has more in the pipeline. She's a native of North Carolina, the mother of 4 children and 1 grandson. We are super excited she's with us tonight, willing to share her life story and what inspires her. So welcome, Lisa.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
Awesome. Thank you again, Lisa. So we're just going to go through with the same type of questions. We want you to tell us the name of your book and what inspired you to write your book.
Thank you. My book is called God is Carrying Me. I'm His Warrior. The book inspired me. The title actually was in 2 parts, My Brother and a Stranger. Yeah. And I found out that I had breast cancer January 2020. And it was during the time of not knowing that this would ever be something I would have to face. You never know that you're going to face things in life. So I called my family, I shared the news, and my brother instantly told me, he said, remember the picture we had as children in the house? And I think everyone has this picture, but it's a picture of Jesus and a person being carried. So he reminded me of that picture. And then he said, sister, God is carrying you.
Yes.
And the warrior part came when I had to go through the process. I met this lady in the lobby area of the radiation location where I was. And she said, when I walked past her, that God spoke to her and told her that I was his daughter. And so she jumped up out her seat. She came to me and she said that you are a warrior. And it just touched my spirit so much. And I just felt that I was going to be okay because I knew God was carrying me and spoke to me through a stranger. So that is the uniqueness of the title of this book.
Powerful. The title alone is powerful. God is truly keeping you.
Amen.
So tell us, who did you write this book for? Who is your target audience?
I actually, I wrote it for myself because I couldn't speak during this process. And I know the world, a lot of beautiful ladies deal with this. So that was an inspiration for me because we're facing hardships and the unpredictables happen in life, and we have to know how to handle it. We're human first, but then we tap into our spiritual. And that's what helped me to know that this was something not just for me, but it was for God, God's other daughters out here, his other survivors and his other warriors.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, if you want to tell us a little more, some nuggets that you have in your book that you know are going to bless us and bless any woman that may be going through this, because so many people, many women go through breast cancer.
Well, this is the month that we're honoring that. And there are so many different types. I learned so much. I'm an educator, but I was educated in this process. And the number one thing for me is to encourage women to just change things around. So I don't speak the words breast cancer. I call it now, be courageous. So I turned my BC around, and I hope that a lot of women would do the same. Just become courageous in a situation that could be so fearful and cause you to just go into a hole of darkness. So in writing this book, God told me to put on my full armor. And throughout the book, I'm dressing myself. And as the women go through these things, we have to remember to dress ourselves. We're not alone. He's carrying us, and we can conquer what the enemy has allowed to happen, but God gets the glory out of it, because all lemons can turn into that lemonade as long as your mind and your spirit and your soul is willing to walk in that optimistic path.
Awesome. Awesome. So let's talk more about, you alluded to that, just negativity around you and how you receive things when you're going through that, and how you turn the BC to be encouraged. I know my mom is a breast cancer survivor, and thank God this is year 12.
Amen.
Yes, he's a good guy. But when she was going through that, and I took her to every chemo treatment, the particular chemo was red. I just remember it being red, and it's one of the strongest, and they called it the Red Devil. And it was just something that they just said, just like it was normal. So they'd be like, okay, Miss Thompson, this was the first time they did it and the last time. We're getting ready for you to go through the Red Devil. I said, no, that's not the Red Devil. That's the blood of Jesus. So see, you got to turn that around. And so talk to us again about just the importance of language and the power of your tongue and how that helped you through your faith walk when you were going through this.
Amen. Well, what you just said is powerful, and you have to learn to do what God tells us, and that's rebuke the enemy. When you rebuke him, he flees. So I turned mine around with my faith. I allowed my faith to really guide me. You know, we read the words, and like you said, our dialogue can have the good intentions, but we have to turn it around for the good, not just the good of us. It really is for others. I didn't realize how powerful the book has ministered and blessed other women. Like I had to be the vessel, but just seeing it being poured into the lives of the other women is phenomenal for me. And that's why I come up with things, because God gives me that ability to do it. So we walk in his power. We trust in his word. We lean not to our natural thinking, and we just move forward, knowing that we are his child and he is taking care of us, and he knows what's best. We don't. He knew this was going to happen to me. He knew this was going to happen to your mother. He knew this was going to happen to thousands of women. But we have to know that we got the power within us through him, and we have to trust that. And on this journey in the book, it's a reminder to get in your closet, to fall on your knees, to trust in him no matter what the doctors are saying. Because as you said, they can label what they want to label, but you have your label, and my label is I trust God.
I trust God. That's a great t-shirt.
Yes.
I trust God.
I trust God.
So give us some feedback that you've received from women that have read your book.
Just that it encouraged their spirit, reminded them to walk by faith and not by sight, because it is a lot. It's overwhelming to get the news, let alone trying to handle it without having a higher power. I thank the Lord that I know him, but there may be some ladies who may not have that relationship. So this is a time to just develop a new way of learning about a storm, a new way of walking in a deep darkness, because he said that I'll never leave you nor forsake you, but you got to know him first in order for those things to penetrate in your spirit, for you to walk in that.
And we were talking earlier with Tasha about finding your purpose.
Yes.
And so how this book has propelled you to your purpose. And I know from your book, you're now doing events. So
Yes.
Would you like to tell us something that you have coming up?
Yes, and this month is, like I said, is October. We're honoring all of those who have, passed away and those who are surviving currently. And I love to walk. I'm a walker. I walk like 6 miles a day.
Wow.
It's not about anything other than just thanking the Lord that I can do it. My father's paralyzed and he doesn't have that opportunity to walk anymore. So as long as God is allowing me life, I'm going to stretch these legs out and pump this heart. And on October the 23rd at 8 o'clock in Knightdale, North Carolina, at the Knightdale station, I will be walking. This is my second annual Be Courageous walk, and we're walking. I'll have my books out there, refreshments. I'll be signing books and just fellowshipping with family members, survivors, and just thanking God for an opportunity to live and not die. We have to be thankful for every moment. So I take a step, not just for me, but for every woman. And I hope to, have a lot of ladies to support. But if not, I'm walking in hopes that it'll grow and just keep getting bigger. And 10% of my proceeds goes to Breast Cancer Foundation. So anything that I do, it goes there, because my hope is that from the scientific standpoint that we find cures for this.
Awesome. That is awesome. And the assignment is so much bigger than the number of people that show up.
Amen.
So that's something to always remember.
Amen.
We're going to bring back Linan for some more questions.
So let's ask the question that we asked Tasha. What advice would you give to those who are considering writing their story but don't know how to start the process?
Well, being an educator that I am, I love to help the brain to brainstorm. And so what we need is a pen, go back old school, and a piece of paper, and just map it out. Just whatever in your mind, put it on paper. And then you will definitely connect with resources and people to guide you who are experts and who can navigate your beautiful narrative story and allow it to be a tangible book that you are envisioning it to be one day. And trust that journey. Trust the journey.
To go one step further on that, do you have any pointers for those who may have already written something but need to sort of jump into the publishing waters?
Well, it just depends on what direction you're wanting to go in. A lot of people are doing self-publishing. I do distribution with a well-known distribution company called Ingram Sparks, and they really helped me to navigate and have a stronger platform for my books. I have written 7 books, and two of them will be released at the end of this year. So I'm excited. And as you deposit into yourself, you will see that there is a lot more. And so the more you deposit, the more you withdraw. And it's just that recycling. And you don't even realize that you have all of this in you, but it's there.
Mm-hmm. This is good stuff. Really, really good.
So I have one more question. Do you have any sneak peeks for us for future books or sequels? Any of those that are coming up? Do you want to tell us a little bit about what they might be?
Yes. Soul Searching it's an educational book. Soul Searching and Developing Minds, and all of these books are on Amazon and in Barnes and Noble. They were inspired to me because I love what I do, and I put my heart in what I do. I love children, and I have been inspired to help encourage children not to give up, especially low-level learners. So this book helps new teachers, new parents, just to connect with the school systems and make sure that you're understanding all of the features that the schools offer, because schools are here to help. And a lot of times parents don't know resources. So writing this book, Soul Searching Education, was meaningful for me. And my second one is a children's book, and it's called 12 Adventures of Christmas. I love Christmas, and it is inspired by my 4 children. So every year we would always do something, and traditionally we always had a live tree. So we're turning it into a magical moment that deals with mathematics for children pre-K to 2nd grade. And so they can journey through a magical moment with a white horse and learn how to count. And I'm excited about that because my first book was on reading. So this one is a mathematician journey of learning for the little people.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow, you are definitely on assignment. Well, before we close out with you, we definitely want you, and we'll pin it in the comments, but tell us how they can purchase your book.
Yes, my books are on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. Those are the 2 main platforms. Walmart and Target do have them also. And my website is www.lisabeckwith.com. You can purchase it that way as well. And also, you can, when you follow me, I'm on YouTube, but all of my handles are on my website. So you can just go to the website, and all of the handles are there. And I would love to have you to join. My motto in life is to serve and be served. And that is something that I vow to do every day that I live.
That's awesome. Thank you, Lisa. We'll bring
You're
you back
welcome.
in just a few.
Thank you.
Great, great. So our next author tonight is Pinky Struthers. Her book, Childhood Memories, was published in 2018 and is a series of paintings and dioramas that represent the essence of many African-American children growing up in the 1950s and 60s. Pinky is the creator of both the art and the stories in this book and worked on this compilation for over 2 decades. She won the 2016 International OMI Art Residency for her project, and her work is part of the Francis Greenberg International Collection. Originally from Maryland, Pinky now calls Fuquay-Varina home. She has 2 children and 2 grandchildren, and we are excited to have her here tonight with us. Hi, Pinky.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Pinky. How are you? Thank you for being with us.
Wonderful. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So we're going to start off. I know you're an artist and an author, so we want you to you've got them combined with this next work that you're doing. So just start off by just telling us about your new project.
Well, this journey has been so exciting, and the reason for writing my book, actually, my book is a series of paintings and sculptures that I have made throughout my lifetime that tells a story about growing up when I was a child. I'm so excited that my art that's in my book is finally in a museum here in North Carolina. I wrote my book because I missed being at home. I wrote it for my children, really. Initially, I wanted them to know what it was like growing up in the 50s and 60s and how different things were back then than it is now.
Mm-hmm.
After writing my book, I realized, wow, not many people had that experience that I had as a child. Similar, but not the same experience. So I dare say that this book is for everyone to read.
Okay.
And for everyone to know. It's an educational book about the history from the time period when I was a child, the 50s and 60s.
Awesome. So expound more, unpack the part about with the art telling the story, how you used art to tell your story.
Well, at first I thought of things I did when I was a child and the things that I enjoyed doing most as a child. And living in the rural South, the trees were my palette for discovery and for creativity. And we played in the woods and we climbed trees. And so I did a painting of a particular tree that we enjoyed climbing. After doing that painting, oh my God, the tree felt like the hand of God, just holding children safely in it. The tree was a blueberry. It was a blueberry, not a blueberry. It was a cherry tree. It was a cherry tree, a big cherry tree. And the arms were huge. The limbs were huge. And the trunk, the tree must have been 300 years old. It was huge. At any rate, I had an art show. And I think that was the first piece I sold, that cherry tree. And I remembered as a child getting water from a spring. I did that painting twice and sold it twice. We used to pick blackberries and I did a painting of that, but the paintings were okay, but I couldn't really go into them. They just were not present enough in my psychic, so I did things three-dimensionally. And when I started creating three-dimensionally, I felt like I was there. I felt like I was there, and I created the whole community. And then when I moved to North Carolina in 2006, I started creating historical places here in North Carolina that I enjoyed doing just as much. But my book is full of the whole childhood memory series. And the thing about the book, like I said, I love the most is the museum that housed my pieces that I created. People can purchase the book, go to the show, and understand exactly what they're looking at. They can see the history behind the piece, and they can make those connections when they were children, or children now comparing what we did versus what they're doing now.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we have a vast variety of people of all ages that are watching tonight. And one of the questions is they want us to take us with you. Let's go into your memory book and take us to your favorite childhood moment of the 50s and the 60s.
Oh, my Lord.
Journey with you for a moment.
Well, in the 50s and 60s, dancing. We had music on a record player and records. And we listened to the Supremes. What is her name that leads the group? Diana Ross. We danced, and there were pop dances that came out every week. We learned them all. We learned the words to every song. So I think that as a child, I loved dancing more than anything else. And I loved art. I loved creating new things out of new things. You know, when I recall making a doll out of a cornstalk. We would make dolls out of blades of grass. Oh, we just had so much fun, and I never felt slighted like I didn't have something. I never felt that whatever I wanted, I could create it. And what I created, I was always very satisfied with. So I would say that was my greatest memory as a child, dancing, winning dance contests, because we had them all the time.
Awesome.
And after school, everybody would come to our house and we would have talent shows. That really helped me speaking to a group of people, because you had to participate, whether you could sing or not. If you couldn't sing, and my voice wasn't all of that, people would join in and sing the background, and then my sister would take over the lead from me because she had a stronger voice, and that was fine.
That's what they do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Awesome. So we talked about your favorites. We're going to stay right there and just tell us your favorite place, because I know the book talks about different places that you've been, places you've lived. What is your favorite place?
Well, my favorite place is always being in the woods. And in fact, when I was 14, I grew up in a very spiritual environment. I decided that I was going to give my life to God. So I walked in the woods, took off all of my clothes, let the sun kiss my body, and then my relationship was constant God shine brightly on me. So from that moment on, in fact, I did a painting about it. So yeah, so I just love looking at nature, the birds. My mom taught me one bird from another, one tree from another, things that can hurt you, like poison ivy, poison oak, creatures that could hurt you, but we never thought of snakes playing in the woods at all. You know, I guess God protected us from all of that, huh?
That's right.
So that's my favorite place to be. Outside.
Outside. Awesome. Well, we're going to bring back Lenan, who has a few more questions from the audience.
Hey, Pinky.
Hey, Lenan, how are you?
I'm good. I'm really enjoying this. So I have a question for you. How important do you feel art is in the sharing of a story when it comes to writing a book? Obviously, your book is primarily art, but is that an important part of sharing your story in any genre?
I think that when you tell someone a story, in their mind, they see a picture of what you're saying. And you can create the picture for them, which is more targeted and controlling, or you can allow their imagination to run wild. And as they imagine things, they can only imagine what they themselves have experienced. So in a small way, I think, in one way, it's important to have imagery in books, but in another way, then you take away something from that person's own ability to create. So it goes both ways. And for children, I think it's important for children to have imagery to see. But adults, your experiences are a little more vast than children. And so you can imagine things yourself.
Great. That's a great answer. The question that we've been asking all of you is what advice you would give to someone who aspires to be an author but isn't quite sure how to get started?
Well, this book I started writing years ago, putting my thoughts down. And finally, I decided, okay, it's time to put this in a book format. I want more people to experience my art, so I better put it in a book. And that's another reason why I did the book. I simply went on Amazon. I wrote everything, and I have to give my daughter the credit because she laid my book out for me. You know, she laid everything out, and we went on Amazon and we did everything they told us to do, and we published it. And now I'm poised to write another edition to this book.
Okay, well, tell us about that.
Oh, Lord. Well, I think that reading the stories and seeing the art is one facet of it, but people want to know, well, how do you do that? How do you make a figurine? So I'm going to add another part to the book to let people know, to demonstrate how to build the dioramas and how to make the figurines. And so that educators in particular can use this in their classroom. So that will be the next part, the next step of this book.
That's great. So more to come.
Good stuff, Miss Pinky. We want to make sure that you tell our audience how to purchase your book, and we'll make sure that we put it, also ping it in the comments.
Amazon. You can get it on Amazon. And I'm working. I'm hoping that I can get it many more places. But right now you can get it on Amazon. And I will be at the festival tomorrow. And I'm hoping that everybody will come out, and those who don't have a book, they will purchase a book.
Awesome. That's the part I wanted you to get to. And you're going to join us tomorrow.
Yes, definitely.
Awesome. Well, we're going to bring you back up in just a few minutes. So thank you for your time.
All right. So we are ready for our fourth author of the evening. This author is near and dear to our heart. She is actually a member of the board for the Cultural Arts Society of Fuquay-Varina, so she's one of our own. Evelyn Booker's book, A Winner in Spite Of, was published in March of 2021, so very recently. In this work, she shares the thoughts of a strong Black woman whose humble but auspicious beginning in life set the stage for her journey to corporate career success in the advertising industry. Evelyn was the 8th of 10 children, grew up in rural Eastern North Carolina. She's married, has 2 grown daughters and 5 grandchildren, and lives right here in Fuquay-Varina. Welcome, Evelyn.
Hello. Can you hear us, Evelyn? Yes. How are you? Uh-oh, you're on mute. There you are. How are you, Miss Evelyn? I think she's having internet issues. Well, we're going to work on that. So while we're working on that, we're going to take a quick break and we are going to thank our sponsors. We're going to bring our sponsors up now.
Hi, my name is Chris Groff. I'm one of the owners of Oakland Springs Brewery, located right here in Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina. I'm here today to say that we are very excited to be a presenting sponsor of this year's International Cultural Festival in Fuquay-Varina. And I just wanted to spend a few minutes with you on who we are. Oakland Springs started roughly 6 years ago at a block party. That's right, at a block party. Myself and 3 other partners got together and we thought it would be fun to brew craft beer out of a garage. Well, there was a lot of trial and error in that, but through 2 years of brewing every Sunday, we came out with some really good recipes: a crisp Kolsch, malty porters, some farmhouse saisons, and some Scotch ales, which we thought were really good. So we thought we'd take it to the next level. And in July of 2018, July 14th actually, we opened our doors to the public at a facility in Fuquay-Varina. It's a combined brew house and a tap room. And over those 3 years, we went from a 7-gallon fermenter in our garage. We're now at 3,100 gallons of fermentation capacity. We service over 100 restaurants and bottle shops across our state. And we make a full range of ales and lagers. We have one of the most robust sour programs, we believe, in the state. We make over 15 sours. In fact, in the 3-year time frame that we've been open, we've developed over 100 unique, delicious, true to style, consistent, fabulous craft beers. And we invite you and your family and your friends to come and visit us. Our tap room and our brew house are located on 2912 North Main Street. We're not that far out of town from Fuquay, and we'd really, really like to see you. So thank you very much and have a wonderful time at this year's International Cultural Arts Festival. Thank you.
Bob Barker is a proud sponsor of the Fuquay-Varina Around the World International Cultural Festival. Bob Barker Company offers the broadest product line and largest inventory of corrections and detention supplies to federal, state, and local government agencies and select businesses. As a family-owned business since 1972, we know that relationships are one of the most important aspects of our company. We cherish the relationships that we've built with all our team members and customers. With that, we recognize having a diverse culture in a company is vitally important for growth and innovation. We believe that belonging is important to all people. Everyone brings a different spice or ingredient to our teams, and we believe a more diverse workplace aids us in building a stronger brand. It's so easy to fall into a culture where everyone is the same, but we are here to challenge the status quo by being more diverse and inclusive. We are committed to individual and organizational efforts to building a community of caring, belonging, fairness, and equity for all. We invite the entire community to please come out and support the International Cultural Festival this weekend.
Hi, I'm Quaylin Murphy, meteorologist for ABC 11 Eyewitness News. Congratulations to the Cultural Arts Society of Fuquay-Varina on the second annual International Cultural Festival. ABC 11 celebrates the diversity of all of our audiences, and we are proud to be a sponsor of this year's event. So, on behalf of the ABC 11 morning team, we look forward to enjoying this weekend's art, culture, and food with all of you.
We know every morning comes with its own set of challenges.
Some days takes a little oomph to get started.
The truth is, whether you're a breakfast or an early lunch kind of person,
You can always get connected first thing in the morning with ABC 11 Eyewitness News.
Meet us here for important breaking news
and first alert weather, so you can stay prepared
for all the day's challenges.
Connect with the #1 local news and first alert weather team every morning on ABC 11 Eyewitness News.
Awesome. We thank our sponsors. Evelyn, you're back. Can you hear me?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hello. Hello. Technology.
I tell you.
So since we had a little lag time, let's reintroduce yourself. Who is Evelyn Booker?
Well, I'm Evelyn Smith Booker, and I am the 8th of 10 children, born to wonderful God-fearing parents in a little eastern North Carolina farm town, Nakina, which is in Columbus County, North Carolina. My sister and I were the first to integrate the school system in 1965. So you can imagine some of the things that we encountered. I worked for 30 years for Capital Broadcasting Company, WRAL TV in sales, and then Fox 50 Television and sales management. So a 30-year span.
Awesome. Awesome. So tell us the title of your book again and your why behind writing it.
The title of my book is A Winner in Spite Of. And the reason I wrote the book, I had the opportunity to listen to a very good inspirational, motivational, professional speaker. And he had just come back from a trip overseas talking to upper management. And he said he could not wait to get in Raleigh-Durham, land and see his beautiful wife and kids. As soon as they greeted him, he got in the car and his wife immediately said, "Now, John, remember today you've got to take Anna for her piano lessons at noon. And then at 3 p, you've got to take little John for his baseball practice." And he thought, I got to? That's an obligation. What if my wife had said, I get to take Anna for her piano lessons, and I get to take little John for his baseball practice? That brings a whole new meaning. That's an opportunity, not an obligation. So if we could change our thinking from I got to do this to I get to, it brings on a whole new meaning. That means you've got eyesight to drive, you've got kids, you've got gas, you've got money to put gas in the car. So I get to, and then a lot of my salespeople had gone on to bigger markets, and they kept saying, you need to put in writing all of the things that made you successful. And then I have a section entitled Paying It Forward. So I get to share why God has so richly blessed me in so many areas of my life. And I get to bring other people along. One person said, success is not measured by your accomplishments, but by the accomplishments you have others to achieve. So I wrote the book to help any and every young person realize without a doubt that no matter where you are in life, you can be anybody or anything that you choose to be. If you couple God or your source, whomever that is, with tenacity, drive, persistence, you can be successful.
Awesome. That's true. That's very powerful. Can you unpack a little more with sharing how your experience is taking us all the way back to you and your sister and being the first in integrating the school system and how you got from there to this book, the experience? Are you sharing experiences in the book, or just unpack that a little bit about how your experiences influenced your book?
Yes. In 1965, it was the first year that it was optional. You could elect to stay at the all-Black school, or you could choose to go to the school that was closest to your home. And the school that was closest to our home was Nakaina High School. And no one else elected to do that but my sister, who's 2 years older than I am, and I decided to do it. So the very first day, to show you how awesome God is, our neighbors, Libby and Judy, were the same ages as Clara and I were, and their farm was adjacent to our farm. So we had known them all of our lives. And when they discovered that we were going to be going to school with them, their parents came over to our parents to let us know that they're behind us 100%. And they were like our soldiers, our guards that first day. But when we got off the bus, all kinds of things were yelled and spoken to us. And we had these two teachers, Mr. Boyd and Mrs. Biddix, that came to our rescue. You know how you gather that first day in the gym. And believe it or not, those two teachers are still alive today. And I just turned 70, so you can imagine how old they are. But we decided, no matter what ugly things were hurled at us, we were going to get in there and do our best. And once they discovered that we were straight A students, it showed them that the color of your skin has nothing to do with your abilities or capabilities. So integrating the school system in 1965, also I was the first African-American female to ever sell for Capital Broadcasting. So again, you can imagine the kinds of things I encountered. And in the book, I list several of the incidents that happened. And you have to keep telling yourself, in my recipe for success, one of the ingredients to ensure success is to keep believing in yourself. So no matter what people do to you or what kinds of obstacles they try and put in your way, you keep in mind what your end goal is. And no matter what they say or do, these are the expectations I have for myself. And you keep striving in spite of. You will be a winner. A winner never quits, and a quitter never wins. So in the book, I also share a chapter on paying it forward. All of these people that are hired at first have gone on to bigger markets and are doing great things, making big money, and they attribute their success to the things that I taught them. And in that chapter, they have each written a letter on the impact that I've had on their lives. And now that they're in managerial positions, they are now hiring, and they can pass these same traits and characteristics on to their employees. So paying it forward, it comes back, and I can already see it coming back through my kids and my grandkids.
Awesome. That is powerful. And I remember I was a young intern when I met you working at Foxy 107, 104, thinking, wow, she's amazing. So where I want to go with that is being the first African-American, whether it was at the school or whether it was female African-American, and whether it was at the station. And it comes with great accolades, but it also comes with weight sometimes. when you talk about paying it forward. So did you feel that weight? Was it pressure? And how did you press through that even when you were possibly being mistreated? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yes, in my recipe for success, the first and most important ingredient is God. I keep God center and first in everything I do. Any decision that I have to make, no matter how big or how small, I consult God. And when I was working at Capitol Broadcasting, every morning at 6 o'clock, I had a 6 o'clock appointment with God, where I would get up and read my Bible and say my prayers. And when I would drive on the premises at Capitol Broadcasting, I would say, God, I dedicate this building and all of its occupants to you this day. I want you to divinely orchestrate my every step. And I can tell you, you can walk into WRAL TV right now. My name is up there more than anybody in the history on Salesperson of the Year and Salesperson of the Month. So to answer your question, I keep God center and first, and I depend on and rely on him to order my steps. Some of the other things, but yes, I had to pray hard and keep my composure. Some of the things that people said to me would absolutely make your hair curl if you got straight hair, and straighten it out if you have curly hair. So yes, indeed, I had to pray a lot, and we broke all kinds of records once I got in management. And that's because I prayed and God divinely orchestrated my every move. So yes, there was pressure. And when you have this many employees throughout the United States, as well as locally, that's an awful lot of pressure on you. But as long as you keep God in the center and he's holding you, as the one writer said before, there is absolutely nothing that you will encounter on a daily basis that he will not help you tunnel through.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, you talked about there's letters in the book with people telling you how you impacted their life. Who impacted you the most?
The person that impacted me the most was my parents, and they taught us so many life lessons. And then I learned a lot from my siblings. Since I'm the 8th of 10, the older siblings were off in college, but they would share their experiences with us. But the biggest thing our parents taught us as people of color, we have to work twice as hard for half the recognition. Think about that. Twice as hard for half the recognition. So they taught us no matter what, no matter how you feel, they think that people of color are lazy and will call out sick. So you get up, you dress up, and you show up. You don't ever call in sick on a Friday or a Monday. You show up, and if need be, you go home after you've been there. But you get up, dress up, and show up. So most of my lessons, treat people the way you'd like to be treated. Don't wear your feelings on your sleeve. All of those life lessons have stuck with me for life. So my parents had the most impact on me as an individual. The old saying that kids are a product of their environment stands true.
Awesome. Awesome. We've got some more questions. We're going to bring Linnea back.
Okay.
Hey, Miss Booker. How are you doing? I have a couple more questions. We have a question that we've been asking all of our authors. We'll start with that. And that is, what advice would you give to someone that aspires to write but doesn't know how to go about the process?
I would tell them to just jot down their thoughts. If you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you don't even have to come up with a title initially, because as you write and as you start putting things together, that title will manifest. So just write down your ideas, write. Go to your computer, keep a journal, document all of your thoughts. And then as the day comes to put it together, everything will fall into place. But find if you want to self-publish, you can do that. But I elected to go the route of canvassing my friends who had written books, and I took a course. So they advised to use this publishing company that I was extremely pleased with. And I had one professor, if you were to read some of the reviews, said this book should be mandatory reading for every high school student, every college student, and anybody in corporate America. So write down all of your thoughts, keep them in one place, label everything, keep your notebook, and then when push comes to shove, as the old folks said, it will fall into place. But write.
Great, great. And the other question that's come up is, are there any future books on the horizon? And if there are, do you have any idea what
Did
those
I
might look
freeze
like?
again?
We can still hear you. Did you hear my question, Ms. Booker?
I think she might be froze.
Yeah.
This is a great book, and one thing, there she is.
I am doing a workbook. One of the professors at Yale University said, yes, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
I can.
Having a few technical difficulties. So we're going to get the rest of her nuggets when we bring everyone back in just a few moments. But we want to make sure that we let you know that she will also be at the International Cultural Festival tomorrow. And so we'll be able to purchase her book on site. Lynn, this has been some great conversation. Very, very powerful nuggets. So we want to bring all of our authors back up for just a few moments.
There we go.
Yeah, so we have everybody back. Ms. Booker, can you hear us again? I think she's still having internet issues. But we have a few more questions that we want to address to each and every one of you from being an author. So my question is, for each of you, how did you get past fear? Because in some areas, and I'm an author as well, and so my biggest fear was being transparent. Because in order to tell your story, you're exposing some things, right? You're sharing more than what you would ordinarily share. So talk to us about if any of you felt that way. Was I by myself, alone in this? Or
can you hear me?
Is it that fear? Can you talk to us about that? So we'll start with you, Lisa.
Well, of course, fear creeped in because it's unknown. Like, you're looking at it as, what will people think? Do I really want to share my truths? Who cares to hear my truths? So yeah, I did have some fears about releasing it because, at one point I didn't know that I was really an author myself, so I discovered that within, and just wondering how people would receive me. And the beautiful part is they did receive me. So I'm glad I didn't allow my fear to overtake me.
Tasha?
Yes, definitely. Lots of fear at different, stages. And even at the end, when you think that, it's time to release it, then it came from every direction. But I think ultimately my thoughts were I wanted to please God, and I felt like this was a calling that I needed to. It was from Him to do this. He opened the door for me to get it published. Like, I mean, He opened up so much. So I'm like, there's no way I can stand before Him and say, didn't get it done. So I let that surpass, help me get past the fear. Definitely.
Awesome. Pinky, was there any fear?
Oh, yes. Yes. There's always in my writing and my talks to the public, I really don't want to offend. And I feel like it's like I've been looking at the TV and all the stuff that's on it about education and telling the truth about various things that happen, especially in the 50s and 60s. And so, but I feel like the truth has to be told. The truth should be told. And so that helps me to overcome my fear of saying certain things and saying them a certain way. My biggest fear is not doing it right, not doing my book right. So education helps, taking classes help, talking to other people helps a lot. So that helps me to overcome my fears.
Awesome. Evelyn, we were asking, did you have any fear of just really being transparent in this book?
I really did. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, I got on my phone. I just left that computer alone. But yes, and then you're wondering how people are going to receive your book. And then there were certain things that I would run by Capitol Broadcasting since I was there for 30 years, that I would run by there. I have a chapter, 30 years in television, and I wanted to make sure that all of my quotes and anything that I used, that their corporate attorney had approved it. And then there were certain things that, the articles that were written in the News and Observer, that they would not let me use. I had to rewrite that, or I had to pay them a percentage of every book that I sold. And I said, thanks, but no thanks. So this one person said, it's always better to get, to ask forgiveness than to ask permission. But that would be a costly ask. So yeah, you do fear, first of all, how it's going to be received. And then if the sales will go well, and praise God, they're going extremely well. And then just putting everything in writing and making sure that you're laying it out correctly. But that's where the editor comes in, and having a publisher helps tremendously.
Awesome. Lynanne?
I think Tasha still needs to answer the question. No?
Yes, she did.
I can answer you.
Okay, we do have a question from the audience, our virtual audience, and that question is, what has surprised each of you the most about being a published author? You want to go backwards and start with Ms. Booker?
Sure.
What surprised you the most is how costly everything is. I'm just amazed. But then, you look at it as a return on your investment. And the bottom line is, when you get feedback that it's helping our youth, and that's my goal, is to get it in the hands of every young person. So that you can't put a price tag on that. So if you're helping somebody to grow and learn how to climb that corporate ladder, finding a mentor, all of the things that come with being successful, then it's really worth the investment.
Great. Pinky?
What has surprised me about writing the book? The following I've had. I've had several book signings in my hometown, and I've had them in 4 different places where there was standing room only. People came out, and some of them bought several books for other people. So my surprise is the showing of love. The showing of love. I'm just overwhelmed. I'm just overwhelmed and so appreciative. And I feel my book is godly driven. So that's how I feel my surprises in this book.
I think for me, my surprise was it took so long to get the book, finished and published. So I'm thinking that's the end. I did it. I'm all done. And I think it's really more like the beginning, because now, you're talking about it, you're sharing about it, and there's so many more opportunities to be had. So I think that's the biggest surprise, because I really felt like that was the end. Like once I got it, done, I was done. But I don't think that's the case.
For me, what has surprised me the most was that I had a lot to share. It was a lot within me that I did not realize was there. And when my first book, I was like, wow, was that me? Is this really my story? So that's the amazing part. And also adding the support of people, it really does, make you feel really good that writing your story inspired them in their life. So that's my surprise.
Great. Thank you, guys.
I have one more question. Just because you are authors, so you can stick your chest out, whether it's your first book or your 7th book, you did it. You did it. You stayed with the assignment and you did it. And so my final question of tonight is coming from someone in the audience. How does it feel to be an author? We'll start with you, Pinky. How does it feel to get your story out there?
It feels absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And writing is something that I never really thought that I would do. I love creating with objects, with paint, telling the story of my work feels incredible. So this is what can I say is thank God for it.
Awesome. Lisa.
Yeah, I'm at awe right now. It is amazing. It's a priceless feeling to know that you have a title like that. I've never really been a popular person or, kind of known. I've always been behind the scenes with a lot of things. And that has been the most challenging part for me, because I am a behind the scene person, but I knew God wanted to use me in a different way. So this experience of being an author, I really pinch myself sometimes and say, who, me? Because I would never have thought about being an author. So I'm grateful to hear the voice of the Lord and walk in his wisdom and use the skills he's given me to share with the world.
Awesome. Awesome. Tasha.
Yeah, for me too. I feel some of the same things. I'm like overwhelmed. I'm just so thankful that I was able to complete it and to have this opportunity. And there's nothing like, getting those books in the mail for the first time or holding it after all those years, having that physical copy. And I'm just overwhelmed and thankful to God that I had this experience.
Great. Evelyn.
It really is a feeling of accomplishment. And to know that God has placed you as one of his earthen vessels to share your story and to get letters or reviews saying the impact that it's had on their lives. And this is some of the same things that I experienced. So it's a feeling of accomplishment.
Awesome. Well, thank you, ladies. This has been, Lynette, this has been amazing. And it's been
wonderful.
Such a blessing. So many nuggets. I want to grab every book. I cannot wait. So again, we just thank you guys for coming on and for sharing, what God has given you to give to us. So thank you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Yes.
Awesome.
It's been a blessing for each of us.
Yes. Last words, Lynette?
Yes. So in closing, I just want to say on behalf of the board of the Cultural Arts Society and Pam and I hope everyone that's been watching tonight and our authors have enjoyed tonight's sharing of ideas and wisdom through the art of writing. Our mission is to share the diversity of Fuquay-Varina through the creative arts, and writing is one of the many ways we can express ourselves and our creative ideas. And I feel so strongly about keeping this a part of the festival for that reason. As Pam said this afternoon, everyone's an author. We just need to be inspired to tell our stories. You knew I'd get that in here tonight. And I just hope that these amazing women have inspired you to start sharing your own stories. And I also hope that you'll join us tomorrow for the remainder of our festival, either in person or virtually here on Facebook and YouTube. Our performance-based portion of the program will start at 11 a.m. at the Fuquay-Varina Arts Center. Starts at 11 with Pomp and Circumstance, and then followed by 8 separate performances in a wide variety of genres, dance and music and spoken word. So take a few hours out of your Saturday to enjoy an amazing event tomorrow. Come have some food, see our vendors, and just enjoy the arts and everything that Fuquay-Varina has to offer. So those are my final words.
Awesome. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye now. Have a great night.